There's something weird going on here, though. You are working on a case about a murder that hasn't happened yet. How it started before the murder trial of the season.
A seemingly healthy female that was brought into the ER that was potentially now brain dead.
It's like we entered the Twilight Zone.
There's an investigation going on right now. Crime scene.
The package comes right to this desk, but it's like a Pandora's box because when it's opened, it sets off a chain of events, changes everything.
And the house of cards come crashing down.
Including on this woman who's speaking out only to 2020. And so in the space of about 24 hours, you go from being complete strangers to basically being a couple.
I didn't know a lot about this guy, right?
The gates of hell had just been opened in front of you.
Yeah.
University Hospital, Aurora, Colorado. What you're seeing are the last moments of Angela Craig. She's a healthy mother of 6, and she's being rushed into the emergency room with these mysterious symptoms. In only hours, she's going to crash with very few clues as to why.
It just gives you goosebumps. It hits you in your core. She doesn't look herself, and it breaks your heart knowing that these are her final hours, these are her final minutes.
And so you're watching the slow motion murder happen in real time, and you have to try to stop it.
Yes, yeah.
Family, friends, and authorities at this point are just desperately trying to piece together what has happened here.
I'm going to tell you something that's going to sound really insane.
Maybe I watch too many crime shows, and maybe I shouldn't even say this.
Aurora Homicide Unit, and I was wondering if you have a minute to speak with me.
What is the motive? Is it money?
Was it somebody snapping? Spur of the moment?
Do you have any idea what you were actually getting into here?
There was no way of knowing because it just kept changing. It kept getting more stunning, more crazy.
It begins 21 days earlier, and over the course of those 21 days, trust will be broken, lies will be told, and it will end with Angela Craig's murder. It's February of 2023, and James Craig is heading home after presenting at this high-profile dental convention in Las Vegas, while his wife, Angela, is about to visit her older sister in Utah. Now, Angela's from this very tight-knit family. She's the youngest of 10 siblings and incredibly close to all of them. And what should have been a pleasant break from the Craig's routine will set off a stunning chain of events. James and Angela Craig have been married for 23 years. They've got 6 kids, ranging in age from 8 to 23, and the younger 4 still live at home. And the Craigs have lots of close friends they've made over the years, including their neighbors who moved from South Africa, and they became like family.
From the beginning, we really just loved them. We always made the joke, if something happened to us, we're moving in the basement with them because we always felt like they had our back.
James and Angela live in Aurora, Colorado, which is just outside of Denver.
Aurora is basically a suburb of Denver. You know, you cross one street, you're going from Denver to Aurora. It's the 3rd largest city in Colorado.
The Craig's house is part of this community of pretty big homes. It's a really lovely neighborhood with a lot of wealth.
On the whole street, everyone knew that house. They just opened the garage and
It's like a train station all day.
Just people coming and going, grabbing a bite to eat, leaving, hanging
Mostly
out.
kids, just
all the street kids. We were always there.
James and Angela have a relationship that many people admire. They even post photos together on their joint Facebook account. And friends say that his sense of humor and her quick wit were just this perfect blend.
A lot of people looked up to their marriage, and they made it seem fun, and raising 6 kids together in a crazy house.
Jim and Ange were very affectionate with each other in a way that I actually thought was really cute. Public displays of affection at that age, that long into a marriage, I thought actually was very refreshing.
James and Angela are very active in the Mormon Church.
They attend church, they pray together as a family. They study their scriptures together as a family. They actually serve in their local congregation, and James Craig was the elders quorum president, and that's a big deal. You're making sure that men are taken care of, that their families are taken care of. It's a big responsibility and a very respected leadership position.
Besides faith, Angela's other true calling is motherhood.
Her whole life revolved around her kids, 100%.
She had 6 children that she was caring for. She sounds like a supermom.
She definitely did. I always looked up to her. If I needed some mom advice, I would reach out to her.
She was like very witty and comments like even to the kids. Like I think one of her biggest sayings was like, "I love your stinking guts." Like she just said that all the time.
While Angela runs the home, James Craig is the provider. Now, James is actually Dr. James Craig, and he runs Summerbrook Dental Group, a practice he's owned for 17 years and which he promotes online.
My approach to dentistry begins with sincerely listening to the patient and wanting to find out more about where they're coming from and what they're looking for and what they want. I also have a very strong philosophy that a happy team makes happy patients.
Jim Craig was my dentist for the better part of a decade and did his advertising when I was a radio newsman. I remember talking about, trying to convince a radio audience, if you need a dentist, go see my friend, my dentist, Dr. Jim Craig. He's excellent.
For a dentist, he has a great smile. It's his best calling card, right?
When he smiled, it was his whole body that smiled. I mean, he leaned in forward, he giggled a lot. He just was very charismatic. He could get you to like him in 2 seconds.
He really was a positive guy.
On Summerbrook Dental's Facebook page, the team would post snippets of the levity of daily life at the practice. It was always front and center, including when James dressed up as the Tooth Fairy.
And here's the Tooth Fairy! Ready to sing?
Hi! I heard you need a tooth extracted. I'm here to do the work.
In 2022, Dr. James Craig partners with Dr. Ryan Redfern, his longtime friend and fellow dentist who'd gone to dental school with.
Jim was extremely busy, had a lot of irons in the fire, but seemed to handle them very well. I thought that he was one of the smartest people I've ever met.
And fellow dentists are drawn to work at the practice because he's on the cutting edge of dental technology.
I couldn't believe all the cool stuff that he was doing at the office, all the exciting technology, things that really were a dream for a newer dentist.
And it's pretty financially lucrative as well.
He had a very large house. He was going on these lavish vacations with his family. I was like, wow, this guy has been very successful financially for a very long time.
James Craig is heading home to Angela and his kids from this dental convention in Las Vegas.
It was just another convention that he went to so many of them that I'm going to go train here and I'm going to go teach here, I'm going to go speak here.
But this convention is different. A countdown begins. Angela has 21 days left to live. And someone who attends that convention will unknowingly hold some of the clues as to what happens to Angela.
It's pretty terrible.
James and Angela Craig together again in their $1 million home. Remember, he'd been at that dental convention in Las Vegas. She was visiting family in Utah. Now it's back to their routine, recorded on their security cameras. What do you see in the video?
They're being a loving couple, you know, normal husband and wife, normal mom and dad to their kids that are running around the house. They're doing dishes, they're making protein drinks. They drank a lot of protein drinks in that family. That was like a thing for them. Everybody's mixing up protein drinks.
What is not seen on camera, the calendar of a crime. Precious time is ticking away. From 21 days to murder, Angela Craig now has just 12 days to live. Can you describe the last days of Angela's life?
It begins on the morning of March 6th. Angela woke up and she did a really hard workout on her bike.
She rode her indoor bicycle, was very athletic, always drinking her protein shakes or workout smoothies.
And she starts to feel sick. She's not sure what's happening. She doesn't feel like herself.
At some point in the morning, Angela texts James Craig and says, I worked out, I drank the smoothie, and I'm not feeling well. I'm feeling dizzy. I'm feeling off.
Caitlin, the office manager, he came up to her and said, I just got a call from Angie. She's not feeling well. Her blood pressure, she's saying that her blood pressure is high.
Dr. Craig, still in his scrubs, races home and rushes Angela to the hospital.
The symptoms are, severe headaches. She's got nausea. She can't focus. Extremely sick.
Even after a battery of tests, Angela and her doctors are baffled. So this is not just a personal medical mystery. Medical professionals also couldn't figure it out.
Correct. She was confused about what was happening to her. Medical professionals were confused about what was happening to her.
Doctors finally diagnosed fatigue and elevated blood sugar, and Angela's released.
And she is desperately searching for why she is so sick. She was searching, I believe we were presented with 40 different searches from her phone alone that were all related to dizziness, being lightheaded, feeling very heavy.
When did you first learn that she had been feeling ill?
He texted me telling me that Angela's having this weird medical thingy, he called it. I thought, well, it's just probably a virus. There was no indication of the seriousness of it.
The next day, there's Angela. You can see she's supported by one of her daughters on her way to an urgent care. Then just days after that, another emergency, and there's Angela again, slumped on the counter as her daughter calls 911.
911, what's the address to the emergency? I'm at home with my mom right now. She's been feeling a little sick for the past couple of days. She's thrown up, and she's thrown up a lot, and she's worried that she's going to crash and pass out. She doesn't think she can make it to the car so we can get to the hospital.
Earlier that day, and this is hard to watch, after passing out, Angela crawling on hands and knees.
She's so sick. She's so sick.
Once again, she goes to the ER, desperate for answers.
This time, she is admitted because her symptoms are so much worse.
She's feeling horrible, and no one can figure out what the hell's going on with her. Somebody knew. Someone knew.
Angela ends up being in the hospital for 5 days, and James is coming over every evening after work and taking care of the children. He's bringing her food.
Angela Craig is strong, though, and she recovers enough to be released. And she's looking forward to a return to normal life with her husband and kids, never knowing that now she has only 4 days to live. She thanks him at one point for taking such good care of her.
Thank you for essentially carving out time for me. I know that you're holding the fort down, at home and doing all these other things, but I really appreciate it.
Angela Craig has just 3 days to live.
And then boom, sick again, and new symptoms and different symptoms.
And in the vein of trying to care for her, Jim Craig is saying, why don't we give you clindamycin?
Yeah, so originally they potentially thought that she had a sinus infection. And so as a dentist, he can prescribe antibiotics.
Clindamycin, a medication meant to treat sinus infections, among other things, and something that James Craig had prescribed to his wife, Angela Craig.
Dr. Craig reminds Angela's brother, Mark Prey, to give Angela her medicine.
He gives her 2 of those capsules in the morning And around 20 minutes later, Angela Craig is saying she can't hold herself up anymore. So Mark Prey, Angela's brother, rushes her to the hospital.
She ends up going to University Hospital and checking in and never checking out.
By 2 o'clock that afternoon, Angela has deteriorated. Her organs are failing. She's put on life support. She is intubated.
One of their daughters just called and she was just crying. And she just said, the doctors are saying that my mom's not going to make it. And I was like, what? Like, what do you mean?
And people start to wonder, how did things go so wrong? Because, you know, there's nothing more contagious than a bad case of suspicion.
You're getting ready to accuse somebody.
The moment you say something,
Pandora's box is opened.
Angela Craig is running out of time. She's dying right before her doctor's eyes, and the cause of her illness is still unknown until one extraordinary day. This day, this March 15th day,
It's like we entered the twilight zone.
Yeah, that's a weird day.
It's a crazy day.
James Craig alerts their business partners and their longtime friends, Ryan and Michelle Redfern.
And when he basically conveyed that she was not looking good, I said, would you like us to come to the hospital?
Not looking good as in she might die.
She might die, yes.
And Michelle, when you're driving to the hospital, you get a call from Jackie Calderon, who is the operations manager.
She called and she said that she had Caitlin on the phone, and Caitlin was pretty upset that she had opened a package on Monday. And I said, what was in the package?
This is Dr. Craig's office. We got access to where he actually practiced dentistry, and offices like this, they get a lot of packages. And on March 13th, 2023, a package comes right to this desk, but it's like a Pandora's box, because when it's opened, it sets off a chain of events, changes everything.
The package itself out of the box, it was about this big, and it was like a thick foil, and it was sealed shut.
Office manager Caitlin Romero will later tell detectives that while his wife is fighting for her life, Dr. Craig is anxiously awaiting a special delivery.
He said, I'm going to have a personal package delivered to the office. So, and he had asked me multiple times about it during the wait, did my package come in?
Dr. Craig's package does come in, but an employee opens it, and Caitlin Romero takes a look and says, huh.
I saw that it said potassium cyanide.
Okay.
And so I closed the box back up, I gave it to him.
2 days later, she tells her boss about it, operations manager Jackie Calderon.
I called Jackie and I told her, I'm gonna tell you something and it's gonna sound really insane.
And I said, no. Are you sure it wasn't potassium chloride? Was he ordering salt? She goes, no, it was potassium cyanide. She goes, I didn't know what that was. The next day I looked it up.
Kind of was looking at the side effects from that, and that was everything that his wife was going through.
All the symptoms match exactly what's wrong with Angie.
And so Jackie and Caitlin get on a call immediately with Michelle and Ryan Redfern.
And she said it was potassium cyanide. And my gut dropped.
Is there any medical need in dentistry for potassium cyanide?
Absolutely not.
It's poison.
It's poison.
And he goes, Caitlin, are you sure that is what you saw? And she said, yes.
And I said, well, I'm going to tell somebody. I have to.
Is there a thought in your mind right now that if you don't intervene quickly enough, that Angela could die?
I felt like she was alive and fighting for her life.
And time is of the essence.
And time is of the essence.
Ryan had to make a couple of really quick decisions here. He had to decide whether this information was important enough to tell the hospital, and he also had to face the really hard realization that his business partner and friend may be the reason that Angela is in the hospital fighting for her life.
You're getting ready to accuse somebody
of killing their wife.
The moment you say something to an official at the hospital,
Pandora's box is opened.
Pandora's box is open.
Nothing's ever the same, whether it's true or not.
hoping you're wrong, but knowing that regardless, life just changed. Jim was our friend. I liked him. He was a great guy. He was funny. And we were gonna lose both of them.
And the first person Ryan sees at the hospital, James Craig.
And all of a sudden, I heard my name, and I look up, and it's Jim. And we embrace, and he cries, I cry with him. And he says, it doesn't look good. She might die tonight, is what he said to me.
Inside the hospital, in a dark hallway, Ryan flags down a nurse.
I said, I received some news on the way to the hospital here that I just got like 30 minutes ago. And I'm not accusing anyone of anything. I don't even know how to say this. I'm not saying he did or didn't, but it's possible that she is a victim of potassium cyanide poisoning.
And what happens?
I went back out to the waiting room.
As if nothing happened.
As if nothing happened.
And Jim is right there.
And Jim's right there. Yeah.
At that point, we're seeing security running down the hall. They're entering the ICU. Security is now in the waiting room. You're beginning to see
the hospital's response.
People are kind of running around. And so Ryan says, I think it's time for us to leave. So they walked out to their car. They both went into Michelle's car, and Jim called Ryan right away.
Jim calls.
Ryan, I've heard some disturbing news.
And I said, yeah, Jim. And I said, yeah. I said, you had a package delivered to the office. What was in the package, Jim? And he was like, well, it was, if you have to know, it was a ring for Angie. And I said, no, Jim, it wasn't a ring. And I said, what do you need potassium cyanide for, Jim? And he was just like, oh, Ryan, what have you done?
Oh, Ryan, what have you done? And then he immediately said, I bought it.
Yeah.
And I thought,
I said, yeah, I bought it. And
well, now there's no doubt.
At the end, near the end, I said, Jim, stop talking and get a lawyer. Stop talking and get a lawyer. You're going to need one.
So the hospital calls, their forensic nursing staff calls us.
Aurora police detectives are at University Hospital, and the House of Cards come crashing down.
Now, a pair of Aurora detectives is on the case. They're armed with search warrants, and they are determined to get to the bottom of what's killing Angela Craig. In the case of Angela Craig, there was a time for doctors. Now, it's a time for detectives.
In the 5 years you've been doing homicide, you've probably seen shootings, right? Probably stabbings.
Yes. Oh, yes. Yep.
How about poisoning?
No, this is our first poisoning.
We get to the Aurora police station.
And we're there for hours. Hours and hours.
We're finally released about 4 a.m.
About 4 a.m.
After a few hours of sleep, Michelle and Ryan Redfern wake up to a text message from their good friend, James Craig.
You wake up to this text.
He's reading it to me.
I'm reading it to her. I am very, very mad at you. And now what you thought was responsible has become reckless and so destructive.
It still angers you to read this today.
It does. And so I'm asking, if there was ever any love in your heart for me, please don't make this any worse by talking to any officers or anyone else about this. My response was, forward to Bobby Joe Olson. Immediately. That's what I did.
Strange as it sounds, Angela Craig's death investigation is well underway, even though she is still alive, although the end is near.
There's an investigation going on right now, so it's a crime scene.
Family and friends gather at the Craig home.
It was a cold evening, and I remember it had just started like snowing, and we pulled up there, and there was a lot of police activity.
We're supposed to come out here and sit on this address and not let anybody else in.
Okay.
Officers allow the family dogs to leave.
You guys want to take the dogs or something? That's fine, you can take the dogs.
Then Dr. Craig arrives.
Say, Brian, we got the husband right here. Craig?
Yeah, Jim Craig.
Okay, so he's just
Craig is the last name? So we've been directed by our detectives that nobody's allowed back inside the house.
Okay.
So it's basically a death investigation right now.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay. Detectives send word that they'd like Dr. Craig to come down to headquarters.
We'd like you to go to headquarters and talk
Tonight?
to detectives, yeah. Yep.
Okay. If I get down there, I'm not going to want to answer any questions. I'm going to probably lawyer up.
So you don't want to go down there right now?
I don't want to now.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So you're free to go.
And at this point, Detectives Bobby Olson and Molly Harris are working round the clock.
We did not go home. I mean, this was, again, sleeping under a desk, taking a 15-minute naps, like power naps, and waking up and going.
Next morning, it's time for an unscheduled dentist appointment with Dr. Craig, who's staying at a friend's house.
It's freezing out here.
Yeah. I'm Detective Olson. This is Detective Graw.
Okay.
I guess we're coming to, talk to you or kind of see if you want to talk to us.
Okay.
Is that something you're interested in?
No.
Okay. And that's fine. So we have a search warrant basically for your cell phone, Angela's cell phone, your wallet, and or your laptop.
Okay.
And that was our first interaction, March 16th at about 8:30 in the morning.
What'd you make of him?
He was scared out of his mind.
So, am I a suspect in something right now then? So here's where we're at. There are questions. Yeah. And I have
based
answers.
on what we've heard.
Yeah.
Well, my understanding is you wanted to talk to an attorney before you talked to us.
Yeah.
Perfectly within your rights, and I totally get it.
Yeah.
But we do have those questions.
Right.
So, until they're answered, it's hard to say yes or no to what you just asked me. Am I a suspect or not? Well, I guess it kind of depends.
And the next stop is a search of the Craig family home.
All right, so this is the house. And do you have any idea what you're looking for?
We still don't, right? Like, all we know is the potassium cyanide was delivered to the dental office.
Visitors to the Craig family home are greeted with that inscription, "Welcome to our happily ever after."
We did find some medications related to Angela Craig. We did find numerous powders, if you will, but we were really looking for any and everything without the knowledge of what exactly the consistency was of those potential poisons.
Yeah, we didn't even know what does cyanide look like.
They don't find a smoking gun, but still, their suspicion begins to throb like a toothache when investigators find a text message Dr. Craig sent Angela when she first got sick.
This is very early on in her illness, and she's telling him, I feel drugged. And his response is, well, given our history, I can see how that would be triggering. Just for the record, I didn't drug you.
So he has a history of drugging her?
As far as we know, in 2018, he sedated Angela without her knowledge or consent. And he says he did so because he wanted to take his own life and he didn't want her to interfere.
Vivian Fandemarva and her daughters Jessica and Tama say they got a glimpse of something strange when they went to comfort the Craig family. Dr. Craig was leading everyone in a prayer.
He was basically like yelling, and he was like so red in the face and just like animated about it, and he was just screaming that like he will see Angela in heaven again and all sins are forgiven. It wasn't a prayer about her, but almost just like about his salvation, and that it doesn't matter what sins we've done, he will still make it into heaven and he'll be with her again.
He was demanding his salvation.
He was demanding his salvation.
I think that's when we saw a Jim that we never knew.
We walked away in absolute shock.
And then the end of 21 horrible days. The clock stops. The death investigation now has a death. Angela Craig is gone. When is Angela officially pronounced dead?
March 18th. Family members had told us that he had called them and said that he did not want an autopsy performed because if they couldn't figure out what had happened to her when she was alive, he did not want them poking and prodding when she was dead.
Fortunately, James didn't get to make that decision.
This is a homicide investigation, and there is going to be an autopsy. Now, what that autopsy and the investigation turn up next is enough to turn your stomach.
Arsenic, potassium cyanide, they're drugs out of, some dime store novel or murder mystery from 100+ years ago.
But proving Dr. Craig is the poisoner, that's another matter. Detectives binge on endless hours of Craig family security video. What will they find?
This is kind of the old southern area of Aurora.
Okay, so we're talking about a medical plaza. This is not just a standalone dental clinic.
No, that's correct. And then they're up on that third floor. Do you see the?
I do. I see the dental chairs and the apparatus.
The dental office of Dr. James Craig in Aurora, Colorado. Scenes of cavities, root canals, countless cleanings.
Really appreciate it.
Thank you. And now, a search for evidence in Angela Craig's unexpected illness and untimely death.
You can have seen people there.
The office manager, Caitlin Romero, who really is one of the major heroes of this whole story, because without her, there's a chance that this goes undetected.
I know that there's been some concerning observations that you guys had in the practice itself as it relates to James.
She told us about how on March 6th, in the evening, she was locking up. She thought she was the only employee there.
We got exclusive access to the dental office at the very center of this case, and so we can show you exactly what Caitlin Romero saw that night. Right here, she noticed in exam room number 9, Dr. James Craig sitting at a computer here.
He was sitting in there, and he was sitting in the dark. The light was off, and he was on the computer in there.
This was really unusual because typically Dr. Craig did not stay late, and if he were working on a computer, it would be on a laptop in his office.
And he said that he had gotten his wife home and situated, and it had been a stressful day, and he just needed a break, which is why he came back to the office.
So what was he doing there in exam room number 9?
One of the first searches that he does is how to make murder look like a heart attack. There are hundreds of searches about poisons, and he read a lot of news articles about other poisonings.
Cyanide, oleander, arsenic, tetrahydrozoline, an ingredient commonly found in eye drops.
He's trying to cover his tracks. He doesn't think anybody's ever going to look at exam room number 9's computer.
Also on that computer, according to police, evidence of a poison shopping spree. And the arsenic is in the mail, and it's captured on home security video.
This is the moment he goes to pick up the arsenic.
The arsenic gets delivered, yes, at 1:49, and we see the post office truck driving past, and then you see him exit the house at 1:51. He's at the mailbox getting it out of there.
Then he buys a lot of Visine, a lot of eye drops. We're talking 19 bottles in 2 days.
Plenty of poison. The question is how to get his wife to ingest it. Now, authorities watched this home security video. That's how he did it. They say James Craig spiked his wife's shakes and smoothies.
Now, we do get a couple of images on the home surveillance of James Craig doing suspicious things. You see him in and out of the refrigerator with Angela's shaker bottles, and you see him preparing the drinks that she then later is consuming. So it's probable that he's administering arsenic on March 6th in her protein shake.
When Angela went into the hospital on March 9th, she had an elevated level of arsenic in her blood, enough to make you feel sick, to make you feel dizzy, enough to make you feel like you've been drugged.
And so he's giving Visine to her, probably also in her drinks, because her bottle on the bedside table that we collected and had analyzed, it has tetrahydrozoline in it.
Prosecutors also point to this hospital video of James Craig arriving on March 15th with food and a drink, heading right to Angela's bedside.
My job as the forensic pathologist is to speak for the decedent and to tell their last story. They can't speak for themselves. I have to be that person that brings to light what has happened to them.
And Dr. Kelly Lear says what happened to Angela Craig was murder.
Her cause of death was cyanide and tetrahydrozoline poisoning. Her manner of death was homicide.
How many separate occasions do you believe that James Craig poisoned Angela?
I mean, it was throughout those 10 days, from March 6th through March 15th. He never stopped poisoning her.
The night after Angela Craig is pronounced dead, detectives lure her husband to police headquarters with a ruse.
I had called him and told him I was going to give him his phone back.
How you doing?
Well, thank you.
I
All right, Bob. You are under arrest.
Okay.
Okay, first degree murder.
He didn't seem surprised, calm and collected, and really no sort of fight or, dispute of why he was there.
I didn't expect this. Sorry, God.
Inside the police station, detectives tell the accused murderer he's got two options: talk or take the fifth.
Yeah, we're going to take your cuffs off here for you. And then you just sort of have a seat. So I do have an arrest warrant for the murder of Angela.
My gosh.
I just want to give you that opportunity to tell us what you know.
As you can imagine, this is terrifying for me. And you both seem very nice and like you're on my side, but I know how this works, and I don't want to incriminate myself or say anything stupid, or I don't know how to navigate this. I've never done this before. And I'm scared to death.
That's understandable.
Yeah. I can tell you I did not kill my wife.
And this is where it's really unusual, because Craig asks the detectives who had just arrested him for advice.
Oh, this is horrible. Detective Olson, what'd you do if you were in my position?
I feel for you. I really do.
Trust you.
So,
What'd you do?
and I can't give you legal advice, and I can't tell you what to do.
And at this point, the dentist who'd spent years telling patients to open wide, he decides to keep his mouth shut.
Oh my gosh. I have all of the answers that you need, but I can't talk. I can't.
The next sound you hear, that marks the beginning of the end of James Craig's career as a dentist and the start of his new calling as a defendant.
Thank you.
Police now begin to rewind the last 21 days in the life of James Craig. You're talking about a case with poison, infidelity, betrayal, Vegas.
How did you meet him?
At a dental meeting in Las Vegas.
And rest assured, what happened in Vegas is not going to stay in Vegas.
It just kept going. The deceit, manipulation, shock value of this case kept getting bigger and bigger and bigger. And it was shocking.
I'm going to take a leap here and say that this is probably the first time that you've ever seen a protein shaker as a murder weapon.
Yes. Marriages only end in two ways: death or divorce.
Or murder in the trial that just wrapped.
They proved beyond a reasonable doubt that this guy was a pretty crappy husband. He cheated on his wife constantly.
There's always another woman.
And this one is talking exclusively to 2020. So he invited you to his house in the hours after his wife had died?
Yeah. She has no idea what she's getting herself into.
Probably one of the more insidious, horrible things that I have ever seen in this business.
How common is it for you to have a case in which the person facing murder charges tries to put a hit out on the lead detective?
I was a sitting duck.
We're about to see deepfake videos, murder for hire, a secret sugar daddy. It can't get any worse.
That kind of manipulation is just in movies.
Investigators have just made a shocking arrest in the murder of Colorado mother of 6, Angela Craig. It's her devoted dentist husband, James.
There are answers. And this makes a lot of sense once those answers come out.
Dr. James Craig had seemed to be the very picture of success. A business owner with a thriving dental practice who was a loving father.
Looking back, there was just nothing that would indicate there were any problems.
Well, a father of 6 children and an Aurora dentist is accused of poisoning his wife.
You can see a lot about a person through their eyes. A lot. He looked dead in his eyes in the mugshot. It's a shot of full exposure without hope.
It looked like he had been crying, but it didn't look like he'd been crying because he just lost his wife. It looked like he'd been crying because he got caught.
The Aurora dentist accused of poisoning and killing his wife was in court this morning.
James Craig is formally charged with first-degree murder. He pleads not guilty, but he's accused of poisoning Angela, lacing her protein shakes.
The poisoning aspect to this was so unique. We were seeing this story play out all over the country. I think the fact of who the Craigs were lent a great deal into this national interest. The fact that a dentist, it's a profession that you believe you can trust.
The arrest warrant is 52 pages, and it's got a lot of the evidence that police have collected so far, including photos and text messages.
You read page after page after page. You're going, there's no way that somebody could be so cruel.
But on page 36, there is this huge revelation. Right there is a name, Dr. Karen Kane. She's an orthodontist from Texas. Was this an aha moment in the case?
It was definitely an additional person that we needed to find.
When detectives search James Craig's email account, which they say he used to order poisons, they find this trove of what they say are steamy emails with a fellow dental professional, Dr. Karen Kane. And the correspondence seems to indicate that the two had just met about 3 weeks earlier, but their relationship seems to have gotten very serious very quickly.
It seems like you do these types of stories, news, long enough, there's always another woman.
Now, Dr. Karen Kane is speaking for the first time to us in this exclusive interview, and I first met her back in 2023, only months after James Craig was arrested, and back then she was still sifting through the wreckage. And Karen Kane has a very different story to tell about what was unfolding those last 21 days of Angela Craig's life. And we start at the very beginning, and this is where Karen first meets James Craig at that dental convention in Vegas where he was speaking. When was the first time that you saw James?
Standing in line to get on this shuttle bus to take us to our corporate dinner that the meeting was putting on. We just started talking, ended up sitting next to each other on this shuttle ride over to dinner, and he was like, can I, sit with you at dinner and finish this conversation?
At this point, Karen is in the process of finalizing a divorce. She'd been married for 27 years, 2 grown kids, out of the house. Her husband had moved out just over a year before, and she says she'd made peace with her new life, living alone. But that's when she meets James Craig. First impression.
I mean, there's not like an immediate physical attraction. Sweet eyes, great smile, just easy, so easy to talk to.
Okay, so initial reaction, is this friend vibe, or is this, this could be something more than friend?
Definitely friend vibe.
Karen says in those initial conversations that they're connecting because there's so much common ground. She says that James kind of like opens his heart up to her, that he's also going through a painful divorce. And he tells her that he and his wife of 23 years just split at the end of last year. What did he tell you about his life, his marriage,
he told
his
me
children?
He had 6 kids and that he had filed for divorce in 2022, that they hadn't been living together. He had an apartment and that he was staying at the apartment, but they would trade and he would, do kid duty.
Karen says their connection was also spiritual. They're both deeply connected to their faith.
There's somebody who's kind of going through the same struggle I'm going through and leans on the Lord the way I would, and just seems super easy to talk to. So we spent this Thursday evening getting to know each other, and then we texted until 4 a.m. that night.
What are you texting about until 4 a.m.?
At that point it was like, just, compliments. Then the next day we, spent pretty much the day together.
She knew she was falling fast, but she was still wary. And so in the space of about 24 hours, you go from being complete strangers to basically being a couple.
Well, at least having the semblance of knowing a lot about each other.
Still, she told him she had boundaries, and she says their relationship wasn't consummated. What was the goodbye like?
It was nice. We kissed, and he left, and then my flight got delayed, and so he came back and got another kiss, and then I actually left.
You come back to Texas, he goes to Colorado, and it continues.
So we're FaceTiming, and I don't think I went to bed before 2 o'clock in the morning any night over the next 2 weeks.
A few nights, she says, he even put in an earbud and he'd let Karen listen as he did Bible study with his children before putting them to bed. So you were a fly on the wall in his family. He took you right in there.
In my mind, I didn't know a lot about this guy, right? And so I was like, well, if I can see him through his kids' eyes, then that's going to be my most true look into who he really is.
Well, that and the 4,000 text messages authorities say they exchanged over 21 days. And within a number of days already, they were using the L word, love. How big was the rush you were feeling during this time?
So
Texting
great.
and talking and FaceTiming.
So great. Yeah.
Like a drug almost.
Lots, yeah. Yeah. There was a lot of just feeling like so connected.
He says he even composes a song in her honor.
She saw him standing there.
It's called Enough, and it's a sad ballad with lyrics that say her life was bleak and bad until she met him. But after she meets him, she finally knows she's enough.
And she finally feels like enough.
The two decide they want to meet again in person, with Karen booking a ticket to Colorado the following week, March 8th. Now, remember, James Craig has told Karen he's living apart from his wife, and he's in the end stages of his divorce. But just before the trip, James tells Karen that Angela is in the hospital. Nobody knows what's wrong, and he's going to have to watch the kids. And Karen reschedules her trip for a week later, March 16th.
When she first went, he was like, they can't find anything wrong with her. They've done all this testing. So really, it was all so mysterious.
Karen says that James Craig told her he suspects that Angela might be harming herself.
He would kind of talk with like a frustration, like, I can't believe she's doing this.
Nonetheless, Karen still heads to Colorado, but this trip will go nothing like she's planned.
Hi, Karen.
Yes.
I'm Sergeant Lawnecker with the Aurora Homicide Unit. Taking Jim into custody for homicide.
Angela Craig is in critical condition, and Karen Kane feels that it's not the right time to visit, but James Craig urges her to come anyway.
I'll go ahead and come, and I'll just sit in the hotel until, you're able to spend some time, and then I can be there to just kind of be a break and help carry some of this weight.
Karen says James has told her that Angela is not likely to recover. He also tells her that police have blocked his entry into his own home as they investigate. His house is taped off by police. They've had a search warrant.
Mm-hmm.
Do you think at some point maybe I shouldn't take this trip?
I knew the police were looking, and I knew they were going to find that she had somehow hurt herself.
Karen gets on a plane from Texas and lands in Denver. She has no idea what she's getting herself into. No idea.
When you were in Colorado with him, did he ask you to come meet his family and be there?
He offered at one point that I could come. There would be a lot of people in the house. I would just be his friend from Austin and yada yada. And I was like, nope. That seems like a pretty sacred space and time that doesn't need to involve me. And we had 2 dinners was pretty much the only time I saw him while I was there.
Did he seem distracted in those dinners?
You know, I would just be like, are you okay? Like, are you really okay? Tell me.
Did he seem sad? Did he seem distraught? Did you talk about Angela at all?
We talked about how he was doing, how the kids were doing, but not a lot really specifically about Angela in that moment. He at no point seemed stressed or anxious. He didn't seem heavy-hearted. He seemed pretty, at ease.
He might have appeared at ease to Karen, but police are narrowing in on their suspect, and they've been poring over his communications on his phone and email. And so you realize during the search of these emails that he's having this steamy romance with this woman named Karen Kane, and she's in town right now.
Yes.
How do you track her down?
The night he was arrested, he had a hotel key on him.
And lo and behold, at that hotel is Karen Kane.
And so officers went to the hotel and asked if he had a room or if Karen had a room and made contact with her in the hotel room.
The officers did?
Yes.
Yeah.
Our sergeant did.
It sounds like the truth came knocking on your hotel room door at
2 a.m. Mm-hmm.
Hi, Karen.
Yes.
My name's Sergeant Lawnecker with the Aurora Homicide Unit. We've taken Jim into custody for homicide, and I was wondering if you have a minute to speak with me.
Can you walk me through what happened?
When I opened the door and saw police there, I just kind of went right into almost like robotic mode of all right, I'm just gonna brace myself for whatever's happening in this moment.
We are aware of yours and Jim's relationship, and he's been taken into custody for killing his wife.
What are they telling you?
We just want you to know that we've arrested him for first-degree murder of his wife.
What did he tell you's been going on with his wife?
Just that he said he told her in November that he wanted a divorce, that they told the kids together in December. He filed in January, early February. I'm kind of worried that she might hurt herself. We've had a history with that.
Has he talked to you at all about poisons?
Just told me that he had gotten some stuff in the past from his work. It was about 10 minutes maybe that they were in there. They told me there's lots of evidence, against him in this.
But the information Karen is learning only gets worse.
Okay, so here's basically where we're at. He's never told her he wants a divorce. He's never told her there's no talk of him moving out with the kids. She has no idea anything about a divorce. He's purchased poisons, and she's now dead because of poisons. So a lot of the things he's told you, assuming you've told me the truth, are all nonsense. There's no history of suicide by her. There's no anything.
So are you concerned at this point that you might be a target of the investigation?
No.
Are you concerned that this investigation is going to go anywhere at this point?
No. You
think this is just totally bogus?
Yeah.
All right, ma'am. Take care of yourself.
When did you first speak to Karen yourselves?
On the morning of the 20th, I had called her, and then I met her again at the hotel.
Nice to meet you, Karen.
It was apparent when we met her that she had no idea that he was doing this. He had lied to her. He had told her that he was living in an apartment. He would have a week with the kids at the house, and then she would stay at the apartment and they would flip. He's very savvy when he speaks, and she believed him, and he 100% manipulated her as well. She knew nothing.
A stunned Karen leaves Colorado to go home to Texas as she tries to process the past 48 hours. And when she reads the arrest affidavit, it's almost impossible for her to comprehend, because she learns that within days of meeting her, James has allegedly researched potassium cyanide and buying other deadly poisons. What was that like?
That's real dissociative for me. I don't have any sort of headspace of my reality where that fits. That's all like stuff of a novel and like movie. I mean, I went back and I reread all our messages and kind of replayed it all, and I don't feel like I missed red flags. I mean, you don't know you're being lied to until you know.
Right? Who's just so good at spinning these tales.
All the plates spinning all the right ways.
And as detectives dig further into James Craig's past, they're going to uncover other women. They're also going to learn that the murder plot may have started before Karen Kane even entered the picture.
At first I thought he was just joking, yeah. But then it got darker and darker.
And I still can't believe it. To this day, I can't believe it.
When James Craig is arrested, the whole world learns about Karen Kane. Could she be a possible motive behind the murder of his wife? And as investigators dig deeper into his digital world, they discover something else. Actually, they discover someone else.
He told me that he was a very well-known dentist and that he was very involved in his church, that he had 6 kids.
Carrie Hegeseth meets James Craig through a dating website called Seeking.com. And authorities would later determine James Craig has carried on sexual relationships with at least 3 women he met on the site over the past several years.
This app was set up to arrange sugar dating relationships. So some kind of a relationship where you benefit in some format from that connection. So on this app, James Craig had a number of women who he would support financially in some ways or other means as well.
And James Craig's profile name on the site is Jim and Waffles. Both really nice to wake up to, he writes. He also says he's worth about $10 million. Carrie Hegeseth is this mother of 3 who met James Craig after she got out of what she describes as this troubled relationship. And in comes James, and she says he's showering her with all these expensive gifts. She says he even pays her attorney's retainer in her custody battle, and he buys her daughter an almost $9,000 car. He'd also sent Carrie an original song like he did for Karen Kane. Hers is much more upbeat.
But I only think of you.
It's called I Don't Want to Be All Right Without You.
Carrie Hegeseth is an important witness in the case because he is arguably the most honest with her about how he feels about the state of his marriage.
Detectives find a series of potentially damning text messages in which James is asking for help dealing with his problem. The problem he's talking about is his wife. It's Angela.
He describes it over and over to her as a problem and as a situation. And he's talking about needing a solution to his problem. And he talks about feeling stuck and hopeless and helpless.
He started telling me, well, I don't know how to leave her because of the finances. He just said, our finances are very intertangled and it would be almost impossible to separate them.
Despite those appearances, James Craig has had a really rocky past few years financially. He'd been through 2 bankruptcies in 2020. He paid off one of them, and he partnered up with Ryan Redfern. That arrangement was helping him service the other bankruptcy, but times are still pretty tough for him, and Ryan Redfern says he sits James down to tell him things need to change if he's going to keep his practice afloat.
Ryan Redfern says, you're gonna have to take a big pay cut, and you're gonna have to work more hours. Take less time off. That's just 2 days after he's telling Carrie Hegeseth, I can't get divorced. The financial leash is tightening.
January 2023, 2 months before Angela Craig's death, and he texts Carrie something that she says stops her cold in her tracks.
He kind of made it sound like if he couldn't figure this out, that he was suicidal.
She sort of tells him, you have so much to live for. And his response to her is the most telling statement we get from James Craig in the entire case. And he says, "I'm not suicidal. I'm just stuck. I'm not happy, but I can't get divorced right now." And that's on January 14th of 2023. He's saying it clearly that he cannot get divorced.
But I still did not think that he was like really talking about hurting Angela.
But then Carrie says his tone begins to change and he seems to proposition her.
Well, I remember thinking, this is really dark, you know? And there's no way I'm getting involved. So I kind of tried to lighten it up and make it more of a joke, like just to get out of the conversation. Like, hey, there's a lot of homeless people that live by your work. Why don't you talk to them about one of these, or your problem, because they have nothing to lose. So he ends up getting frustrated, it seems, and says, well, maybe that is actually my only option, is to hit up a homeless person. And then he goes on to kind of try to reel me into it, even though I'm not, engaging, and says I could pay handsomely. I made $60,000 last month, and I know you need help. I would love to help you. And that was like, whoa, it just made it so real, I guess.
Within weeks, she says she stopped answering his texts. And then about a month later, she sees an article online and it has James Craig's mugshot.
I immediately just started crying. Like, I was like, oh my God, he did it. Oh my God. Like, I just couldn't believe it.
Carrie admits she feels guilty for not calling the police, but they eventually track her down and she tells her story.
I think you said it just like that. Like, I have this problem.
Marriages only end in two ways, death or divorce. And he is giving Carrie Hegeseth the impression that it's financial, that he doesn't want to suffer those financial consequences of divorce.
Before this case can go to trial, there will be even more astounding allegations against James Craig, this time from behind bars.
The first thing he does is probably one of the more insidious, horrible things that I have ever seen in this business.
Over the course of the roughly 2 years that this case really unfolded, we first saw James Craig as this jovial appearing father, very big smile in all the pictures. You can tell he's a dentist. His teeth were very prominent in all of those pictures.
Turning dental care into a positive experience. You've done it a lot. How do you do it?
Oh man, well, when patients come to our practice, the first thing that we go over with them is you don't have to be afraid.
As the court process really unfolds, you start seeing him appear looking more scruffy, ragged.
To see him go downhill physically looking has definitely stuck with me. I don't know if he's trying to look the part.
But it'll be more than 2 years before this case goes to trial. And during this time, James Craig somehow, astonishingly, manages to rack up even more serious charges from behind bars. And one of the plots he's accused of hatching involves his own teenage daughter.
The first thing he does is probably one of the more insidious, horrible things that I have ever seen in this business.
James Craig's daughter says he called her and said, hey, you need to come bail out this inmate. He's going to have some information for you. The daughter does as she was asked. At some point, she realizes, maybe I shouldn't be doing this. She calls her older brother and her uncle. They rush over there. The inmate hands the daughter a letter, and she reads that letter. And in that letter, it's essentially a step-by-step instruction guide for James Craig's daughter on how to build a deep fake or an AI video of her mother, essentially depicting that she had wanted these poisons, that she was suicidal, that she did this to herself. He really wanted the metadata on that video to be connected to February 27th, 2023. That's the day of that initial arsenic being ordered as well.
So he's asking his own daughter to commit a felony to help him in his case.
Yes. Without batting an eye. 18 years old. Recently turned 18 years old. She had her 18th birthday while Angela was still in the hospital.
And how do you find out about this?
She, through the family attorney, gets it to the authorities. She was absolutely not going to do any of the very detailed step-by-step instructions that her father had provided her.
Bringing your daughter into it and potentially having your daughter culpable in a crime, having your daughter bond out an inmate that you don't know, I mean, all the things, there's so many things that are wrong with that, is mind-blowing.
And shockingly, this is not the only crime that he's alleged to have cooked up from inside jail. Other inmates claim James is soliciting them to lie on his behalf. And as payment, these inmates say he's offering them money, even dental work. And then another inmate comes forward to authorities.
I'm just like this, dude. It's like the movies, man.
He had a fellow cellmate named Nathaniel Harris, and James Craig and Mr. Harris would spend a lot of time together. James Craig started to say really nasty things about the lead detective, Bobby Joe Olson. So from these conversations, James Craig offered Nathaniel Harris an opportunity to make some money.
You mentioned that he offered money to other people, or what was the deal there?
Bobby, some female named Bobby Olson, I think was her last name. I don't know. I think it was Bobby Olson.
That's who he wanted to kill?
Yeah.
Police say he allegedly offers Nathaniel Harris $20,000 to kill the lead detective on this case, Bobby Joe Olson, effectively putting a bounty on her head.
Then the cellmate says that James Craig gave him a letter as well. In that letter, it refers to Detective Bobby Joe Olson as the world's dirtiest detective, says that she's out to get him.
He called you the worst, dirtiest detective in the world.
Yes.
Who he said deserved to die.
Yes.
Was that scary?
Yes. We do this job knowing the possibility of being injured or, killed in the line of duty. However, I was nothing but pleasant to Jim Craig every time I talked to him. I had broken my ankle, and so I was in a cast at that time. I was a sitting duck.
Well, and your family could have become collateral damage as well. That must have been probably the most torturous part of it.
Absolutely. Being in law enforcement, right? I feel I can handle my own, right? But my family's a different story. They didn't sign up for this job. And that I felt guilty for, putting them in this situation.
5 additional charges are brought against James, including solicitation to commit murder in the first degree. He pleads not guilty to all charges.
I have never seen a defendant rack up 5 more charges in their time incarcerated.
It's been nearly 2.5 years since Angela's death, and it's time for trial. The Redferns, the detectives, and Karen Kane will all be taking the stand. And when you locked eyes on him, was anything rekindled? Did you see the man who you'd fallen in love with? So in a case where nothing is ordinary, brace yourself for even more new revelations on the stand.
That absolutely broke my heart. I'm sure everyone else's heart in that courtroom.
Court's going to call 23 CR 664. Court will note at this time that the parties are present. We are in the presence of the jury.
2 years after the death of Angela Craig, and her husband faces a judge and jury in Arapahoe County, Colorado.
Ladies and gentlemen of the jury, you have been selected as the jurors to try the case of the people of the state of Colorado versus Dr. James Craig.
James Craig on trial for first-degree murder in the poisoning of his wife Angela and other crimes. What do you think was in that smoothie?
It's probable that he's administering arsenic on March 6th in her protein shake.
We learned that when Angela went into the hospital on March 9th, she had a very elevated level of arsenic in her blood.
I mean, I'm going to take a leap here and say that this is probably the first time that you've ever seen a protein shaker as a murder weapon.
Yes. You see James Craig handling this shaker bottle on the evening of the 14th and then the morning of the 15th.
Remember the antibiotic James Craig prescribed to his wife, that bottle found at her bedside?
The important thing about the clindamycin is it's a capsule that he could take apart, dump out the clindamycin, and repack those with the cyanide.
He wrote the script, he picked it up, he modified it, and then perhaps most sinister of all, he gets her brother, who's there to take care of her, to administer some of this clindamycin to her while he's at work the next morning.
On the morning of March 15th, James Craig had told the Preys to make sure they give Angela her dose of clindamycin, that antibiotic.
Incessantly texted Mark and his wife saying, remember, Angela gets her meds at 10. Remember, Angela, did you give her meds? Did you give her meds?
Mark Prey didn't think twice about that. And they gave her the dose, and only around 20 minutes later, she was struggling to hold herself up.
Then the evidence jurors may never be able to unsee. For many hours of footage, a single frozen moment.
It's one frame. You have to go frame by frame to see this. It's one frame. When he goes into a bathroom and he walks out of the bathroom. He is holding a syringe.
He puts it in his pocket, goes back into Angela's room.
This was a sample syringe, like the one that we see Jim Craig holding.
I believe he had that syringe, it was ready, he had made it, and he 100% screwed it onto one of her IV ports and gave her that final dose of cyanide.
The evidence is in her blood, drawn at University Hospital, once when she arrived and again after she crashes and becomes unresponsive.
The cyanide went up significantly and was consistent with an administration of another dose or exposure to cyanide while she was in the emergency department.
The hospital staff, when they got that information, they did try to give Angela the antidote for the potassium cyanide. Unfortunately, it was not reversible.
First and foremost, he wanted out of his marriage. He was tired of it.
Prosecutors argue James Craig worried about the appearance and the cost of a divorce, and he saw a chance to collect millions of dollars in life insurance, and he'd also fallen in love with another woman. The prosecutor said that you were one of the motives for James Craig to murder his wife.
I certainly never aligned with that. I don't know if I even now agree with that. I don't feel like I'm the primary impetus of the idea.
When you were sitting in the witness box, did you see the man who you'd fallen in love with?
No.
Did you feel anger?
No. There's a lot of pity and disgust, just disbelief.
When you look at this case, it's actually pretty complicated.
The defense strategy in James Craig's case was to really point the finger back at the victim, in this case, Angela Craig, and to say that she could have been suicidal.
23 years of marriage. 20-some years of him cheating on Angela Craig. He broke her heart. He broke her soul. He broke her.
According to James Craig and his attorneys, this was basically assisted suicide. Angela wanted to die, and they claim he was just trying to help.
There is no evidence whatsoever, no credible evidence to support that. The only person who says that is the murderer.
The bottom line is, when we're looking at, is this a suicide? There's no evidence of that I see anywhere.
There was love in the relationship.
Craig's attorneys take this argument that there was really no financial motive, that the insurance, that wasn't a recent purchase. And they say there wasn't going to be a divorce, that Craig was a serial cheater, and that Karen Kane, they say, she was just the latest infatuation.
You know what they have proven beyond a reasonable doubt from this table, from these people? You know what they proved? They proved beyond a reasonable doubt that this guy was a pretty crappy husband. He cheated on his wife constantly. Lots of cheating, not a motive.
We spent 10 days killing Angela Craig. And you could have stopped on day 1, or day 2, or day 10. You kept going. Kept going right until the end. Angela Craig was innocent. James Craig is guilty.
With that, ladies and gentlemen, we are going to excuse our jurors to begin their deliberations. Please rise.
And still ahead, anger and eloquence in the courtroom. What James and Angela's children have to say to their own father.
Denver 7 is on verdict watch as the jury deliberates.
Please stand for the reading of the verdict. Count 1, murder in the first degree. We, the jury, unanimously and beyond a reasonable doubt, find the defendant, James Craig, guilty of murder in the first degree. Count 2, guilty. Count 3.
He is found guilty on 6 counts.
I thought there'd be some closure, and in the end, there was this overwhelming great sadness.
Yeah.
Jim was still not who we thought he would be, and Angie was still gone.
And in this moment of profound courage in court, 2 of Angela's children, her oldest son and daughter, deliver remarks.
It's hard to lose your mom, and 3 days after that, lose your dad. And have to spend the next 2.5 years trying to untangle whatever he tells you.
I was supposed to be able to trust my dad. He was supposed to be my hero. And instead, he'll forever be the villain in my book.
After the verdict, Karen Kane said she thought she'd feel some closure, but instead, she tells me, she just feels sadness. In court, she was able to meet and speak briefly with members of Angela's family.
That was definitely the thing I wasn't prepared for. I thought I was going to leave and be like done and feel just a weight had lifted, but that interaction, sorry. But yeah, I ended up leaving heavier because now I have these people and these faces that, I mean, their lives were affected in way more severe ways than mine was.
It breaks my heart that she likely did everything in her power to keep her family alive while she was being tragically manipulated and ultimately killed over it.
Can't help but notice you're both wearing purple. Purple suit, purple tie. Why?
Angela's favorite color was purple.
So this is an homage to her.
Absolutely. Tribute to Angela. Yep.
You didn't know her, you never met her. But it feels like you know her, doesn't it?
Yes.
I think both of us reading through her messages felt like she was just like us. She was doing regular Google searches of planning to sew and, you know, start new hobbies. Somebody that just had a lot of future left in them.
Angela's big brother, Mark Prey, who'd been his little sister's advocate throughout the whole court process, speaks to Denver's local ABC affiliate hours after the verdict, and you can tell he's still processing the past 2.5 years.
You never get used to having her gone. The family text messaging that we do, instead of her voice isn't there anymore, and you don't get used to it. It's almost like she took a trip to Europe and we're too poor to go over there, so we'll see her eventually.
Mark Prey, he's a man of deep faith, just like his sister, and he believes he will be reunited with her once again.
Families aren't just for this life, but for the next, and so she's still part of our family, and she's still Angela. I know that she's still there, and we'll see her again.
James Craig is serving life without the possibility of parole. The judge said he, quote, unleashed a path of destruction as wide as a tornado.
David, as for Angela's family, they tell us that they're glad to have the court process behind them and that her younger children are now living with extended family members. That's our program for tonight. Thanks for watching. I'm Deborah Roberts.
And I'm David Muir from all of us here at 2020 and ABC News. Good night.
This is the Deathmobile, the last and final ride every one of us will take at the end of life's journey.
If you could write a script, isn't this perfect? You have a body transport person, a deputy coroner, and at least one visit to a funeral home that night.
How did you find out your father was missing?
His car was still there, but he wasn't in there.
His friends and family start searching, right?
Yes, everybody starts to look, trying to find his last known whereabouts.
Police ask for your help in finding the missing man. Who you see right here is Gregory Rice.
I think we just all assumed that he was going to be found in a ditch someplace.
He had a feeling that he was being followed.
Greg had actually said, if anything ever happens to me, it's not a suicide.
It's full of scandalous, secret sex. Erica Dontel began to receive anonymous text messages that said, your husband has gotten somebody pregnant.
Giving you every opportunity to get yourself out of the situation.
There's nothing for me to get. I don't know where he is.
What went through your mind?
I was like, this can't be true. I dropped the pedal and I started crying.
And you were scared?
Yeah, I was scared.
They were in the business of death.
So you learned how to do autopsies?
Correct, yeah. Took pride in getting all the answers.
We don't have people standing in line to get this job.
I felt like that was what I was put on this earth to do.
Myrtle Beach, South Carolina. Every year, these shores welcome millions of tourists. They come for the sand, the sun, the surf. But it's not always fun and games. At night, a darker, more sinister side emerges.
We do have some problems in downtown Myrtle Beach after like 10 p.m. That's kind of like a joke about Murder Beach, Myrtle Beach.
Murder Beach, or Dirty Myrtle. You know, after dark, it's its own monster.
It's really become a dangerous place, and there are a lot of beachfront and alligator farms and ways to dispose of bodies that people are never going to be found.
When a dead body is found, Megan Jackson is likely to get a phone call. The 35-year-old mother of 4 and her boss, Chuck Benjamin, provide a service everyone will one day need, but nobody really wants.
My name is Chuck Benjamin. I pick up bodies for the local funeral homes and the coroner's office. It is about 3:40 in the morning. We are headed to one of my local funeral homes to pick up a body to take it to the airport in Charleston so it can fly out to their final destination.
How long have you been doing this?
Since 2011, whatever that is.
Okay.
12, 13 years.
14 years.
Okay.
Yeah.
This is the right schedule for today. Yep, 8:29. Leaves at 1 o'clock this afternoon, so this has to be there by 10:30, 11.
What do your grandkids call this?
The Deathmobile.
And you have it in your driveway, ready to go?
Oh yeah, all my drivers have one in their driveway.
Because you can get a call at any moment.
24/7, 365 days a year.
With those hours, not to mention the grim realities of moving the dead, Chuck says it's not easy to find transporters for his business.
We don't have people standing in line to get this job.
We've
I can
had
assure
people
you
work
this.
one day and leave.
Megan was a next-door neighbor to Joan and Chuck. She had moved from Ohio with Greg and her kids.
She wanted to try it when I needed somebody. So I said, well, I'll take you on a few calls. If you like it, fine. If not, it's no big deal.
She had an interest in science and blood and things like that.
Very first call we went on was somebody had been down for a week. It was decomposition on the 3rd floor. And I mean, she'd hold her own.
She could pick up a body, which is clearly dead weight, by herself and put it on a stretcher or in a car. And she's teeny.
And just like that, Megan becomes an Uber driver for the dead.
I looked up to my mom in a lot of ways. She did a lot of work.
How would you describe her job?
It's a pretty sad and can be an overwhelming type of job, but I think that as long as you're being respectful and caring about what you're doing, then I think it's actually a really good job to have.
Everyone loved Megan. Everybody that she worked with in the business. We worked for a variety of different funeral homes. At the time, we worked for the coroners.
Megan's job requires her to work hand in hand with the Horry County Deputy Coroner, a man named Chris Dontel.
Megan was a great worker. She endeared herself to all of us at the coroner's office.
Did you ever go with her to work?
I've done quite a few calls with her, and it would be something I would actually look into doing in my future.
You would think of doing the same thing.
I never really bothered me as a kid because everybody passes at some point.
As Megan thrives at work, her relationship with Greg Rice, the father of her children, fizzles out. After 15 years together, the couple splits up, but they share custody of their kids.
Greg moved to the Arrowhead community where he lived in an apartment. Megan, who had inherited a good deal of money from her parents, purchased the home in River's Edge.
On October 3rd of 2020, Megan went over to Greg Rice's home with the children. He was going to get the children for that day. There was no answer at the door.
I received a phone call from Megan asking if I heard anything from Greg because he's not answering the door, he's not answering his phone.
Ryan and Greg work together building patios and are best friends. Ryan tells Megan he last saw Greg when they both left work the night before.
I felt it was kind of fishy, and she ended up putting in a missing persons report.
Megan files the report in person at the police station.
Megan, right? M-E-A?
M-E-A-G-A-N.
G-A-N. What's your last name?
Jackson.
How long were y'all married for?
We weren't married.
Weren't married. How many kids you got together? Just curious.
4.
4, really?
I was with him for like 15 years.
How long y'all been separated?
Over a year.
Over a year. So.
Megan says she last spoke to Greg on Friday, the night before he went missing.
And you talked to Greg on the phone at about 9:58, you said?
Yes. And I told him that are we still good for taking the kids to your house in the morning? And he said yes. And I mean, everything was fine.
That was the last time you spoke to him?
Yes.
So you never physically saw him Friday?
No.
Megan was pretty much painting the picture that Greg could have possibly overdosed, was in a ditch somewhere.
What kind of drugs did he do?
Like oxy, broxy. I can't remember what he called
Did he get
it.
hurt or anything? Is that why he started taking them, or just
No,
he just started taking them?
He lived right beside the Intercoastal Waterway, and she was saying he may have wandered off and drowned or just wandered off and OD'd.
Police ask for your help in finding Gregory Rice.
It was a mystery that shook this Myrtle Beach community. One day, 46-year-old father Greg Rice is living his life, and the next day, he disappears, seemingly without a trace. So this is where he lived, right here?
Yes, his children would come visit him for scheduled visits and unscheduled visits. He wanted to see his kids often.
What did you find in the apartment?
So at the apartment, you know, his wallet was found, his front keys were found stuffed in a cushion on the front porch. His car was here, but not his phone.
Is that suspicious?
It is suspicious.
Why?
Most people would have left with their wallet. Most people would have left with their keys, or you know, why walk down the road? Why not take the car and that kind of stuff? So yeah, that is suspicious.
We set up arrangements to go to Greg's apartment and split up in teams and search his apartment and grounds around it for anything, and we didn't find anything.
Investigators canvassed the Arrowhead community trying to see when he had last been seen, but none of that was really fruitful.
The investigators talked to neighbors, and by all accounts, it appears that Greg Rice was a good father. He had a job, he was a hard worker. He seemed to be just an average guy.
Greg had some very good friends in the community who just found him funny and caring and really enjoyed spending time with him. The children all loved him unconditionally.
How would you describe your father?
He was always that person that would be there for you at the end of the day. If you had something you didn't want to say to anybody else, you would go to him.
Greg had the kids almost every single weekend. That's the one thing that mattered the most with him.
You did a lot of fun things with him.
Yeah, I did.
Like what?
We used to surf together a lot, and he used to actually take pictures for the surfing competitions I used to do.
Our favorite hobbies would be definitely surfing and golfing. We would golf 3 to 4 times a week. He was absolutely terrible, but a blast to play with. Yeah, he spent a lot of time in the woods.
How did you find out your father was missing?
My dad always came and picked up the kids, and that didn't happen this day.
Savannah says her parents' relationship took a bad turn after her mother got that job, working in body transport.
She just kind of acted different, was homeless, could be a lot more mean than before.
She was never home, would leave at all times of, day and night, and just leave the kids.
At some point, were your parents arguing more?
Yeah, they argued a lot, but it definitely did get worse once my mom got a job. They stopped just talking things out, and everything became an argument.
And then they wind up breaking up?
Yes.
After Megan and Greg Rice part ways, Megan purchases a home in the same neighborhood as Christopher Dontel.
She moved into our neighborhood, and then a few times she started kind of like popping up at different places. We would go to the same places to eat, kind of have the same routine.
So quickly she went from your husband's coworker to a good friend, family friend.
Very quickly. Yep.
After a while, when Megan moved to Chris's neighborhood, he would just call her and say, I've got a coroner call, and I need you to, go to this address.
She would call me, hey, Chris has got a call, you mind if I go on it? Well, I didn't care, but as long as it gets done on the, within the time parameters that I have to do it.
Megan and Chris are constantly in need of each other because the coroner's office needs body transport. And that would involve meeting each other all hours of the night, all days of the week.
And then in 2020, Chris and Megan's workload explodes because of the COVID pandemic.
The alarming surge in cases of coronavirus. Hospitalizations are up in 21 states.
Funeral homes didn't want nothing to do with it. They didn't want to go on the calls, so they would call me because they didn't want nothing to do with COVID. We were doing 2,500 calls a year, and Megan volunteered, and especially she always did Chris's calls.
Megan and Chris are together for work constantly, and the new neighbors' families become COVID bubble buddies during the lockdown.
After Megan moved into my neighborhood, her kids and my kids virtually had an open door policy at each of our houses. Her kids would come and go from my house. We ate dinner with them several nights a week.
She was showing up with groceries when everything shut down for COVID and we were struggling financially.
We were expecting a little boy. Megan had a full load of brand new nursery items and baby boy items.
We never asked her to do it. She just came in and was going to be the savior.
And then you hear that Greg is missing.
Chris came home and he was like, Megan reported Greg missing.
It would all become more troublesome when police learned Greg feared for his life.
Are you suspicious about anybody?
He was always worried about driving and being followed.
Whenever someone goes missing in Horry County, we always write a story about it. We're a small enough community that if somebody's missing, it's absolutely a news story.
Police ask for your help in finding the missing man who you see right here, Gregory Rice.
Police kept on coming by and just questioning us. Have you seen anything out of the normal? And that's when red flags were starting to raise, like something seriously happened to Greg.
When was the last time you had seen him?
The week prior, and that was the weekend that I promised I was gonna come see him, and I didn't get to see him.
What were you going through?
I was in a pretty bad shape. I wasn't handling it very well, and it didn't help that my mom was still going out every night and getting drunk, coming home plastered.
Did she seem worried about your missing dad?
She seemed worried at first on the phone call and when she originally came home, but after that it was just kind of like nothing.
From all accounts, they had a somewhat tumultuous relationship. There was a lot of friction between Greg and Megan.
She never called him by his name. It was just, oh, he's this terrible guy. I'm going to drop the kids off. If I'm not back in an hour, send somebody to look for me.
I wasn't surprised at them breaking up because I know things she said about him, you know, how he would drink and do drugs and things like that. I think we just all assumed that he was going to be found in a ditch someplace from a drug overdose or drunken stupor.
Megan started making stories up about Greg being on drugs. Never once have I seen that out of Greg.
Law enforcement, they did look inside Greg Rice's apartment for evidence, the substance abuse issue. They didn't find evidence to support that.
No evidence of drug abuse, but investigators did find evidence to suggest Greg was increasingly nervous and suspicious in the days leading up to his disappearance.
Detective Susie called me over the phone, asked me if I would come in for an interview, and I said absolutely.
So I'm Detective Susie. I'm the one that calls you on the phone. So you're a friend of the...
Yeah, and I also work with him. They had actually worked together that last day, and Greg had actually said to Ryan, if anything ever happens to me, it's not a suicide.
Greg mentioned to me that if something was to happen to him, he didn't offer himself.
What do you think could have happened? What were your thoughts at first?
She had something to do with it.
What gave you those suspicions?
Just the way Greg talked. He had a feeling that he was being followed by a silver unmarked car. Megan made it known that she hung out with cops, was real friendly with cops. She always made the comments that she knew people.
Do you think she would be capable doing something. Not by herself.
Not by herself. That statement stood out to detectives.
Walk me through Friday.
I know that I went to Abuelo's on Friday.
What time did you go to Abuelo's?
Not a clue. It was nighttime. I was there with one of the coroners.
Initially, when investigators spoke to Megan, she had just gone to dinner with someone from the coroner's office. And then later, when questioned about that, she said it was Christopher Dontel.
We ate at Abuelo's.
Who'd you eat at Abuelo's with?
The coroner. Oh, Chris.
Chris.
Dontel.
So you wound up getting closer to Megan. Did you see her as someone you could confide in?
I did.
And you did?
I did.
Based on interviews and just other information from the investigation, I certainly think there was a belief that Megan Jackson and Christopher Dontel were romantically involved, but it hadn't been confirmed. So that was one thing that the investigators did want to either confirm or refute, that there was this affair going on.
It's now been 10 days after Greg Rice is last seen, and Megan and Chris are both being questioned by the Horry County PD.
One thing that we have to do is, like, we know who you are, we work with you, but we have to 100% clear you out as quote-unquote a suspect in his disappearance.
Okay.
Okay. So some of the questions I'm going to ask are intrusive. They're uncomfortable questions.
How we got your name was Megan said that you guys had gone out to eat on Friday night. And then with Greg going missing sometime around that time frame, we're trying to gather what happened on Friday.
We went to, I believe, Abuelo's that night.
What'd you do immediately after you got done eating?
We both got in my car.
Okay.
That's the uncomfortable part, right?
Yep.
Mm.
So y'all were in your car?
Yeah.
Okay. Did y'all have sex in your car?
Possibly.
Okay.
I mean,
It's not possible.
You had adult relations.
Okay.
yes.
Eventually, the naked truth bubbles to the surface.
What's the relationship with you and Megan?
If I'm being honest, it's something I would get divorced over.
So you think his intentions are to leave his wife and y'all
No.
planning on starting something?
Oh, hell no. I'm never moving a man back in my house ever again.
So this is just a fun.
I don't know what we are.
Your wife doesn't know.
She knows a little bit, but not the full extent of it.
I just don't want to wreck, he's got kids.
I know. Again, that's not mine.
What about you, Chris? Do you want me to answer it?
No, just, he'll be okay. He can wait.
Investigators ask both Megan and Chris for their cell phones, which they voluntarily hand over.
I get this back today, right? That's
Yes.
But it's someone else's phone that leads to a shocking revelation.
Erica Dontel began to receive anonymous text messages that said, in essence, hey, your husband has gotten somebody pregnant.
It must have been a hard pill to swallow that your husband had impregnated this family friend.
It all turns into a twisted tale. What started out as a missing persons case uncovers a secret affair between a deputy coroner and his partner in body removal.
They were in the business of death, and I really do think that that was something that drew them together. It takes a certain special kind of personality, I would say, to deal with death on such a regular basis voluntarily.
So how did it go from you two being co-workers to something more than that?
She said, have you ever cheated on your wife? And I said, no. And she climbed over the console and got on top of me and started to kiss me.
How were you able to carry on the affair? Where would you go?
Because of our job, it was, we get phone calls at all hours of the day and night, and it was easy to leave.
One night you realize that Chris and your mom might be more than just co-workers or friends.
Well, I just had friends over one day, and They were just being loud in the bedroom, and the next day I was like, wait, like, were you guys like sleeping together? And she told me, yeah, I thought you knew. And I was just like, no, I didn't know, but thanks for telling me.
You had a great wife at home, Erica.
The most amazing wife.
Why did you continue the relationship with Megan?
She made our lives easy. She was going to be the answer to everything.
You did it for the money.
It sounds terrible to put it that way, but yes. I was not at any point physically attracted to her.
Really?
I was attracted to the lifestyle she was providing.
Did you suspect at all that she and your husband might be having an affair?
No. Because the way they acted, she treated him almost like brother and sister type.
Erica Dontel began to receive anonymous text messages.
And it just said, I think you should know that your husband is having an affair and got somebody pregnant. Oh, and I think you should know it's Megan Jackson.
It must have been a hard pill to swallow that your husband had impregnated this family friend.
Yeah. It was so far out of character for Chris. He told me it wasn't happening. He was like, who would say that? Like, what? Like, that's ridiculous. Like, somebody's messing with us.
Your wife received some texts from an anonymous account. What's going through your head? Do you think about coming clean to your wife?
I didn't. I downplayed it. I didn't even know that I believed Megan was actually pregnant. I didn't know what to believe at that point.
They end up calling Megan right then per Erica's request, and it's all on speaker. And Megan dismisses them and, basically, well, it must be Greg Rice.
This is what Greg does. Greg causes problems. This is what he does. He just tries to come in between any relationship that she tries to have.
So you sort of let it go?
For the time, yeah, she said she was going to take care of it and get him to leave us alone.
Chris Dontel is having an affair with Megan Jackson. Greg Rice may have been leaking information to Erica, Chris's wife.
Authorities believe that if Greg was sending those messages, Chris and Megan would have a reason to silence him. They know, thanks to their interviews, that the pair was together the night Greg disappeared.
Chris was in it the entire night.
Yeah.
So you have to drill down exactly where Chris and Megan were that night, right?
Yes.
When Greg disappears. Where did Megan and Chris start off that afternoon?
They both lived in the same sort of residential community. This is Megan Jackson leaving in her car at 6:16. There was another still showing Christopher Dontel leaving just about the same time.
In separate vehicles?
In separate vehicles. So this is the van that she was known to drive to transport bodies, and Christopher Dontel is always seen driving a County Explorer.
Minutes later, both vehicles are seen entering a nature preserve where they stay for several minutes. The two work vehicles then leave and head to Abuelo's restaurant.
Abuelo's is not that far from the preserve. They went there. We had surveillance video of them coming in. This is surveillance video for
That's them sitting at the counter.
sitting at the bar. And one of the reasons why this photograph was important is because it helped us corroborate phone records, because you can see Megan Jackson on the phone there. And that's one way that we say, look, the phone records are correct.
Looking at the forensic results of their phones, they started to get GPS locations. Then they could go back and there's license plate readers.
This is the entrance to the community where Greg Rice lives. And right there on that pole is a silent watchman on duty 24 hours a day, 365 days a year. It's called a license plate reader, or LPR. And people drive past them all the time, all over Horry County. On the night Greg disappeared, Chris Dontel and Megan Jackson drove by this one, not once, but twice.
So in this photograph, we see this is the license plate that was assigned to Megan Jackson's transport van entering into Greg Rice's community. This was right around 10 o'clock, and then just about 6 minutes later, you see the same van with the same license plate leaving the community. And one of the things that this helped us with is that Megan Jackson swore up and down, Christopher Dontel swore up and down, that they had never been to that community.
Did you ever go to his apartment that Friday night?
No.
Had you ever been in Greg's apartment?
No, I never went. I've never been to his apartment.
So this was clear evidence that they were hiding something.
On the night of October 2nd of 2020, Greg Rice's phone records indicate that he was at home most of that night until he got 2 calls from Megan Jackson, and that was just shortly before 10 o'clock. Shortly after that, it did show his phone leave the area of his apartment, which would have been going in the same direction as Megan's phone as well.
It's a short ride to the next stop of the night, and where Megan's body transport van ends up couldn't be more on brand.
If you could write a script, you have a body transport person, a deputy coroner, and at least 1 visit to a funeral home that night. It's the business of death. By October 23rd, the investigators had done a fabulous job of gathering different pieces of electronic evidence.
Investigators say Megan's body transport van is seen leaving Greg's community the night he disappears. They also say Greg's phone is with Megan. According to the evidence, where do they go next?
Their phone records placed them at the Myrtle Beach Funeral Home.
Chris and Megan have access to that funeral home because of their jobs, right?
Yes, just based on his position as a deputy coroner and hers as a body transport person, they pretty much had free access to funeral homes.
What about surveillance video from the funeral home?
That would have been wonderful, but life is rarely that easy. It wasn't working.
The cameras at the funeral home weren't working.
They were not working.
Megan and Chris are racking up the frequent flyer miles in interrogation rooms. Now the regulars are back in the hot seat.
They knew that her van had driven into Greg's community, and that's certainly information that they used in their interviews.
Did you ever go to Greg's house?
No.
Then can you explain why the van you were driving that night hits on a license plate reader going into Arrowhead?
Well, it shouldn't have.
I have pictures of it.
I mean, that's fine, but it shouldn't have.
But it did.
Okay, but I can't explain it. Because
You were driving the van.
Well, I can't explain it.
You and Megan were together the whole night. Megan's van drives into Arrowhead at 10 o'clock that night.
We could have been by Arrowhead.
Do you remember anywhere you would have been?
And I'll be totally honest with you, because I'm sure you know already, she's giving me a while I was driving the car.
Dontel used this sort of oral sex while driving as his reason for not being able to tell exactly where they went and when they went.
I tell you about Arrowhead, about pulling into Arrowhead. You say, oh, I don't remember that. I don't know about that.
All I can tell you is that I don't have anything to do with Greg being missing. All I am guilty of is...
You know who has the motive? It's Chris. He has a lot to lose. He's got the motive. And I think you're covering up something up for him.
I'm not.
And we're giving you every opportunity to get yourself out of the situation.
There's nothing for me to get.
There
I
is.
don't know where he is.
I feel like I'm being investigated for something that I didn't do.
Chris, you are being investigated. You are. Absolutely, 1,000%.
I hope it's worth it, Megan. I really do.
I don't have anything to charge you with, but there's no doubt.
I didn't do anything.
Well, Chris, I'm going to tell you this. If someone asked me to put a bet on it, I would say that you did.
Without more direct evidence, police let Megan and Chris go. Meanwhile, the search for Greg continues, retracing Chris and Megan's steps.
Maybe that body has been cremated. Let's go check the gas and see if an amount of gas was used that would have represented the burning of a body. And there was nothing to see there. No extra gas had been used.
And then weeks go by with no sign of your dad. It must have been agonizing for you.
I just wanted him to come back. I just wanted him to be found and be okay so that I could go to his house. It was just a lot of begging and pleading for him to come back.
This is the Little PD River, miles of slow-moving water surrounded by natural wildlife. And that makes it a very popular recreational spot for swimming, canoeing, and catfishing. For Donna Sue Souls, it's the relaxation and family tradition of catfishing that has brought her here for decades. You said you call this your happy place.
Yes.
Why?
It's just peaceful. It takes all my worries away.
And then, 37 days after Greg Rice's disappearance, a discovery. So November 7th, 2020, how did that day start out?
Well, we come and set up. We set about 8 hooks that night. And then when we turn around and come back through, then that's when, I mean, you could smell the smell.
All right, tell me about the smell.
It was really bad. It was horrible.
On a closer look, what do you see?
Yeah, well, it looked like the tarp was just laid up there. And then once you got the paddle and we lifted it, that's when we seen the ratchet straps tied around the bottom parts of the legs. It was like around both and then around the head on the other side.
What went through your mind?
Well, I dropped the paddle. It scared me. And I started crying. I was like, this can't be true.
And you were scared?
Yeah, I was scared.
The Marion County Sheriff's Office gets a 911 call. Tell me about that.
We get a call for some people fishing found what they thought was a body. It was they found a tarp, and they knew something was in the tarp.
The tarp had black zip ties on either end and then also ratchet straps with cinder blocks securing it, obviously trying to keep the body submerged.
It sounded like a mafia hit.
It would seem that way. It would seem that way. They didn't take into account that when the decomposition starts, the gases fill up and it'll actually float.
Big mistake.
Big mistake.
This body was extremely decomposed. I mean, there was always this thought, okay, here's a body, maybe this is Greg Rice.
Things had to be done, DNA and dental records, to positively ID this person, unfortunately, as Greg Rice. The medical examiner determined that there were positively 5 gunshot wounds on Greg Rice. Investigators start to look at the tarp that Greg's body had been wrapped in, and in fact discovered that the Lowe's Home Improvement here in Conway, South Carolina actually sold that particular name brand. And they go to that store and they start to inquire, has anybody purchased these items? And lo and behold, someone had.
But what really blows up this investigation is a piece of evidence that's literally full of hot air.
Why would you use a plastic glove, doll?
Sex and scandal and then murder. Let me ask you, have you seen anything like this?
This is a new one for me.
Yeah.
What am I under arrest for right now that I'm being murdered? Murder.
It just was like, oh my gosh.
You've transported hundreds of bodies in your life, and now here you are involved in a real-life murder.
Has Megan ever told you that she killed Greg?
I asked her how she knows he's dead. She said, why? Doesn't matter.
And I asked her, what do you mean? And she just wouldn't say anything.
They both claim to be not really knowing how Greg was killed.
This was a high-profile case, with a lot of twists and turns.
They had a blow-up doll?
There was a blow-up Betty doll in the front passenger seat.
My mom could be an evil woman.
She had threatened to kill me. Felt like for the last 5 years that I've been looking in the barrel of Megan Jackson's gun.
He made this big cry, oh, I'm afraid of her.
Sounds like a horror movie. It's spooky.
Never seen anything like it in my life, ever.
Weeks go by with no sign of your dad.
I just wanted him to come back.
Did your mom seem worried about your missing dad?
Not really.
The former partner of Megan Jackson is now missing, and we've got the idea that there's this affair going on.
I mean, it's scandalous. Somebody from the coroner's office and somebody from a body transport having an affair.
Over a month later, Greg's body was found along the Little PD River.
Once Greg's remains were recovered, there were very specific items found used to wrap his body. Ding, ding, ding.
How did detectives wind up at this store?
They wound up at this store because after the murder of Greg Rice, they found Greg Rice's body and he was wrapped in a tarp. And
Okay.
investigators later looked that tarp up and it happened to be a name brand that was sold here.
Oh.
And so they did a follow-up on that to see if there was a tarp sold anytime recently.
Police are able to get a receipt from Lowe's for a tarp, cinder block, zip ties, and a diet soda. And that's not all. As most of us know, in stores like these, there are security cameras everywhere.
And when you go back to October 3rd, the video surveillance showed the person buying those items, and that person was Christopher Dontel.
He's very relaxed. He's very well dressed in the video. He's wearing khaki pants and some nice shoes. He buys a Pepsi Zero. He's just nonchalantly pushing his cart with his murder dump kit through the line at Lowe's.
But now you know, without a shadow of a doubt, that he is involved. He bought all of these things that are used. There's more work to be done, but we were certainly on the right path.
As you drive out to the Little PD River, you pass the PD Exchange, just a little gas station convenience store. And you can actually see what we know is Christopher Dontel's vehicle driving past it one way and then returning the other way. And that, coupled with LPR hits for Dontel's county vehicle, really kind of cemented the fact that Christopher Dontel had driven Greg's body out there.
Convinced that the coroner did a lot more than just sign a death certificate, investigators rush over to the Dontel home.
Hey, Eric. How are you? My name's Greg. Is Chris home?
Yes.
Hey, Chris.
But he was just sleeping in bed, sound asleep, not a care in the world.
His wife and children is probably better than to just come on and talk.
Over the past month, Chris has not provided detectives with much.
So Chris, I mean, you got some questions and probably some things to say. I mean,
I like to have my lawyer present.
But in this case, a picture is worth 1,000 words.
Chris, I'm not going to ask you any questions. What I do want to do, though, is I'll leave these here with you. Let's do shopping at Lowe's. And there's the body you threw over the bridge. Get your thumb because, well, you understand, you're not leaving the building today. You're going to be going to county jail here shortly. Okay?
What am I under arrest for right now that I'm...
Murder. Murder.
At what point can I speak with my lawyer?
At the same time, Megan Jackson is taken in.
Well, all I want is okay?
I don't have anything else to tell you other than what I told you.
Well, I can tell you that's not.
Nobody here thinks you're a bad person. Nobody thinks anything to happen to Greg.
You have no motive to Greg.
But Chris does.
So, the night of the second you guys were together all night long?
Everything that I remember, yes.
Yes, I know you weren't with him on the 3rd between 2:30 and 3 because he called you. But I know where Chris was between 2:30 and 3 on that Saturday.
We were at a call.
No, you weren't.
The detectives then confront Megan with some very powerful images.
So you mean to show you where Chris was at 2:55?
Probable cause, and they were able to make those arrests.
Chris, stand up, turn around.
All right, Chris, murder Greg Rice, all right? I'll see you.
And after your father's body is found, the police come to your house.
They told us that my dad was found and my mom and Chris would be being charged.
That must have been so hard for you to lose your father and then to find out that your mother might be involved.
Yeah, it was a lot. Because I just never believed that my mom could do something like that.
We start with breaking news. 2 people have been charged with the murder of a missing man.
Police say Dontel and Megan Jackson are connected to Rice's death. Both are charged with murder.
And I was like, oh my gosh. What the heck? I had no idea. I was shocked.
When we got this information, it was beyond a shocker because Chris Dontel was a man who we would reach out to for homicide investigations, and now you have a deputy coroner who is arrested in a murder case.
And you had no idea from his behavior that he might be involved.
Mm-mm. No.
Erica, I really think at that point she still did not want to believe that her husband was having an affair with Megan Jackson. She did not want to believe that he had anything to do with the murder.
With Chris and Megan now booked in jail, investigators continue to search their homes for any items that may be connected to Greg's death.
That is spooky.
The police say they saw some very concerning things.
The power button's to the top right.
When investigators with Horry County PD did a search warrant at Megan Jackson's home, she had multiple guns in the home. Strangely enough, all of them were accounted for, but they found an empty gun box that was a .22 long rifle pistol that is consistent with the murder weapon in this case.
As investigators look through the home for evidence, their search takes a drastic new turn.
She's got bottles in every crevice you can find.
She drank a lot.
It was just very clear that she was not a good mother.
It's like a doomsday room. You got a code lock.
There was a lock on the pantry door so the children did not have free access to food.
And then investigators head up the stairs to Megan's 13-year-old daughter's bedroom.
What did the police find out about that?
Well, they found out that she had an alarm on her door.
An alarm?
If she was to open the door, it would beep. Eventually it just got worse.
Their doors had locks that were turned to the outside so that they would not be able to open their doors from the inside.
The windows, they were nailed shut, and then spray foam insulation was sprayed around the windows.
It was like a prison.
Yeah. Yes. Pretty much.
She would essentially lock them in the room so that she could go, and she would go to work or do whatever she was going to do.
She was busy doing this job and obviously involved with Chris. I felt bad for Savannah that she always had to be in charge.
I was the parent of the house while living with my mom because she was never home. And on the weekends would be the times I would go to my dad's, but it would be also the only times I could actually have free time and hang out with my friends.
So you didn't go to your dad's?
No. It's one of the things that I regret most in my life. Because I should have, and I could have, but I didn't. And I really regret that.
The situation in Megan's home, besides murder, was so concerning that Megan's children were placed into emergency protective custody.
As a result of what investigators saw, she was charged with 4 counts of unlawful conduct toward a child.
Nothing at all to do with the murder or the arrest for the murder. It was totally separate.
Days after Greg's body is discovered, a bartender at this restaurant sees Chris and Megan's mugshots on the local news, and she remembers serving them rum drinks one night at the bar and overhearing a conversation Chris and Megan were having with a fellow patron.
So the conversation they were having.
They were normal conversation, like, what do you do? They explained, well, he explained that he was a coroner and she transports bodies, and he's like, that's gotta be a weird job. Small talk like that. Later on, it got into conversations about their families. She started going into great details about how much she hates her kids, how she never wanted them. She said, I think about killing them all the time.
The bartender says she overhears Megan making some disturbing comments about her family.
I had heard Megan say the same things, but I didn't believe Megan would actually do that. I chalked it up to the alcohol.
And a week after their arrests, Megan and Chris have their bond hearings. Prosecutors decide to try Megan first on the more serious murder charges.
Megan and Chris were ultimately let out on bond, but they were on house arrest.
One of the standard conditions is no contact with the co-defendants, no contact with the victims. In this case, for Megan Jackson, it would have been her children.
Chris loses his job with the coroner's office, and now armed with an ankle monitor, he returns back home where his wife is waiting.
At his bond hearing, they said, you know, we've got Mr. Dontel on footage at Lowe's buying, you know, the things that Greg was found in.
Now, are you a little more suspicious?
Yeah, so then I was like, well, that doesn't sound good.
Do you confront him then?
Oh, yeah.
Were you angry?
Oh, yeah.
How did he explain it?
Just that it was the perfect storm of just bad decisions and bad situations, and then, you know, it crossed the line for the affair.
And essentially their job, the circumstances of their job, made it easy to hide the affair.
So now Chris and Megan are back home, living just a few blocks away from each other, but they're barred from having any contact.
I was fielding calls weekly from people in the community. Both of them continuously broke those bonds.
Their ankle monitors were appearing at the same place at the same time.
They said they were getting together to exchange Christmas presents at one point.
He's out on bail, but he's still communicating with Megan.
Yeah. I found a cell phone. The only contact in it was a nickname, but I knew it was Megan. And I was like, after all this, you're still talking to her.
personal drama aside, as investigators prepare to bring these cozy co-defendants to trial, they discover a silent witness.
Megan calls it Blow Up Betty. Let me ask you, have you seen anything like this?
Not with a coroner and body transport people. No, this is a new one for me.
So I get involved as an investigator here at the solicitor's office after their arrest. And we start looking at the evidence we have, clearing things up, and making a timeline a little more crispy.
Where are we driving into now?
We're in Lewis Ocean Bay Heritage Preserve. It's a recreational area. Hours before Greg Rice went missing, Megan and Chris drive into the preserve.
They had them on camera going in and out of that area.
What happened at the preserve?
Prior to anything happening with Greg, Megan had a interest in guns and shooting. She would shoot in the woods, and on this particular day, we went to the nature preserve. Megan wanted to go shoot.
What was she shooting at?
She would shoot at everything from tree stumps to pieces of paper that she would fold up, just random things.
So there's a still image on a license plate reader that you can see Megan leaving with this object in the front passenger seat of her vehicle. It was revealed that it was a blow-up doll, and the doll had a name, Blow Up Betty.
Betty? What was it used for?
At the moment, we don't know.
Your guess?
My guess is for target practice on this day.
So Blow Up Betty is no more.
I would surmise she probably isn't.
Was there a blow-up doll involved in all this?
Not that is relevant to the case. Megan was a unique individual, and
you don't know why?
No, that was just one of many eccentricities about her.
And investigators uncover more shocking details about Megan's personal life.
Before Greg Rice went missing, Erica Dontel began to receive anonymous text messages that said, "Hey, your husband has gotten somebody pregnant."
It turns out what was said in those mysterious text messages was actually true.
Megan, she goes, before anyone else tells you, I want to let you know that I'm pregnant.
Oh, Megan. Why are you just getting in deeper?
She told Christopher Dontel that she was pregnant, and then she had told people that she had a miscarriage. She did have a baby eventually.
There has never been a paternity test. Chris, of course, just accepted paternity.
The baby was eventually placed in the care of a family friend.
Our office is no stranger to really high-profile cases throughout the state. And this was a high-profile case with a lot of twists and turns.
This was an incredibly circumstantial evidence case against both of them. The problem was what they were missing and what they didn't know.
Because of the lack of physical evidence, the lack of a crime scene, one of the things that as prosecutors we always knew we needed was for one of these co-defendants to tell us what happened, to testify against the other one.
We signed what we call a proffer letter saying, if you cooperate, if you testify truthfully, there may be either a reduction in charges or perhaps a reduction in sentence.
Y'all sure you don't know anything? Yeah, sure.
With a lawyer present, Chris Dontel meets with investigators and vows to tell the truth about what happened.
So Chris says that on this night when they went to the Myrtle Beach funeral home after they'd had dinner, that Megan had left some reading glasses.
She said, I need to go see Greg. So she leaves. I stayed at Myrtle Beach funeral home. I did not leave.
Dontel tells us Megan Jackson left for a bit, came back.
She said, we have to go. I said, is Greg here? She said, no, but we have to go. She was shaking. I never saw Greg that night. We left.
And the next day it's like, you have to go get rid of the body.
I asked her how she knows he's dead. She said, why? Doesn't matter.
Has Megan ever told you that she killed Greg?
I've asked her so many times because I wanted answers myself, because I've had to answer to this, and my life's been ruined because of this.
He was not really knowing how Greg was killed or when he was killed.
Prosecutors don't believe Chris is telling the truth. And when he refuses to take a polygraph, they turn to Plan B, Megan Jackson. What does she have to say?
This is the part that I didn't tell the truth on.
Chris had a favorite song, a Keith Urban song.
Only You Can Love Me This Way.
Cause only you can love me in this way.
The night that Chris asked me to be his girlfriend, it was at the Keith Urban concert, and that song was playing.
Cause only you can love me this way.
You still hear that song? Still listen to it?
Yeah.
Chris Dontel has been in jail for violating the terms of his bond on numerous occasions for having contact with Megan Jackson.
I remember that.
But his wife, Erica, has continued to stick by his side.
So this is a photo from Charlie's preschool graduation, and that was our last family photo all together before his bond was revoked. So just how little they were. I mean, I feel like they're different people now. They're so big.
And the children, do they know that something's not right in the house?
Yeah, they do not know where he is or the situation.
You were trying to protect your kid.
And I never thought that he'd be gone as long as he has been gone.
Megan Jackson was in and out of jail as well for breaking bond conditions. And as pressure mounts, prosecutors offer Megan a chance to tell her side of the story through her own proffer.
Some people call it queen for a day. Like, this is your opportunity. You tell us everything, and we'll see if it's worthwhile.
We're here today because you, through your attorney, have requested to come talk to us today, okay? You are to provide us any and all information in a truthful manner.
Should I start from the beginning?
Megan Jackson says that Dontel had badgered her into luring Greg to the funeral home so that Dontel could confront Greg over spilling news of the affair.
This is the part that I didn't tell the truth on. I went to pick up Greg. He got out of the car, went into Myrtle Beach Funeral Home, and I gave him a couple minutes. As I got out of the car, Chris started coming out the door. And then I said, well, where's Greg? And he said he wouldn't talk to me. He went out the front.
She says that when she brings Greg back to the funeral home, she just sort of sends him in on his own and then never sees him again. That Dontel told her he had simply walked off in anger, and that was it.
When did you learn that Greg was dead?
After you showed me the body.
So Chris never told you?
Not until several weeks after.
They both claim to be not really knowing how Greg was killed or when he was killed. They're both saying, I didn't have anything to do with it, but there's enough that maybe you should think the other person did it.
Did you shoot Greg Rice?
No.
Were you present when Greg Rice was killed?
No.
Part of your agreement that you have is that you're consenting to a polygraph?
What this case, I think, eventually just turned into is finger pointing, and, you know, she failed the polygraph.
We were trying to get one of the defendants to testify against the other. We met with Megan Jackson, and it never got to the point where we believed we could ethically put her on the stand. We are putting up someone who is going to lie. And we said, okay, well, we listed them both for trial.
A judge decided that the two trials had to be split.
Megan Jackson's attorneys got a continuance, so we said, fine, we'll go forward with Christopher Dontel.
We had a pretty rock-solid case for accessory after the fact to murder. He was on the tape at Lowe's buying the body dump kit. So we made the decision to go forward on both charges, the murder and the accessory after the fact to murder.
Chris did not go to trial until about 4 years after the crimes were committed.
We're going to go ahead and begin this trial.
We had picked a jury. I was actually doing the opening statement, and I was halfway out of my chair when Christopher Dontel's attorney stood up.
And the defense attorney says, Judge, we've got a matter we need to approach.
Christopher Dontel's attorney said he'd like to plead guilty.
Recess.
We immediately hit pause for the trial. What in the world is going on? What's he trying to do here?
A major turn of events just 2 days into the murder trial for former Horry County Deputy Coroner Chris Dontel.
It was a really big deal. I mean, reporters were ready for a week of trial.
All right, hold on. We're going to just put a microphone on you.
And then all of a sudden, he just pleads guilty.
For him to do that was quite shocking, but at the same time, he did not plead guilty to murder.
He pled to accessory after the fact and conspiracy to commit murder.
Hello, Chris.
Hello.
Yeah, I'm John. I'm getting you on this. Why is it so important for you to speak with me today?
The most important reason is so that the Rice family can get closure. The first day I met with my lawyer, when I told her that I would plead to whatever I'm guilty of if I can help bring closure to those kids. And I've never even hurt someone, let alone murdered someone.
As soon as he entered the plea, we sat down with the prosecutors and told them the story with the actual missing pieces that he was able to fill in for them.
After he took the plea, Chris says that he will testify against Megan Jackson in her trial.
I'm afraid of her because I watched her kill the father of a kid.
I actually found out about Chris's plea, and that's when I called and I said that I wanted to testify against my mom. I asked her, what do you mean? And she just wouldn't say anything.
June 2025. All eyes are now on the Horry County Courthouse, where Megan Jackson's trial begins 5 years after the murder of the father of her children, Greg Rice.
This case was a big deal. There was a lot of media buzz.
A trial is currently underway for a woman charged in the 2020 murder of a 46-year-old man.
Mary Ellen Walter and Lee Waller are the prosecutors in the case. Mary Ellen is known to be a bulldog trial attorney.
I don't see how it's not relevant, quite frankly.
And Lee is also a very hardworking prosecutor.
It's the story of an affair, a pregnancy, and a murder. There's one person at the center of everything, and that person is Megan Jackson. She may look meek and mild, but she is a master manipulator. She was literally in the business of death.
Megan Jackson was represented by the Britton family, Tommy Britton, the father, and then Case and Preston Britton, his sons.
I'd like to see a murder weapon. Don't have it. Don't have any eyewitness testimony. I don't have any of that direct evidence. The stuff that a murder case should have.
The very first witness for the prosecution, Megan Jackson's own teenaged daughter, Savannah Rice.
We felt it important to open with Savannah because anytime you have a child testifying against their parent, that sends a strong message. And Savannah, I know you're nervous, I get it.
And how much time had passed since you saw your mom that day in the courtroom?
Almost 5 years.
What did she look like?
She just looked hollow, and just having her sit in front of me, it made me uneasy.
She had come home drunk one night, and I was in the kitchen, and my sister she wasn't behaving, and I told my mom, and she started screaming, and my sister was upstairs, but then she looked at me, and she said, "I hope what happened to your dad happens to your sister." And I asked her, "What do you mean?" And she just wouldn't say anything.
What would drive a mom to say that of a daughter?
My mom could be an evil woman.
This is your mother.
And then the prosecution's star witness,
The truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, stuff you got?
Yes.
Chris Dontel, takes the stand to tell the jury his version of what happened that night.
I drove her van. We drove toward Greg's apartment. I saw Greg on the road walking. I pulled up a few feet, stopped, and she opened the door, and in one motion, spun out of the seat, pulled a gun out, and shot him over and over. Didn't see it coming. Neither did he. We picked him up out of the road and put him onto the stretcher that was in the back of her van.
You've transported hundreds of bodies in your life, and now here you are involved in a real-life murder.
Correct.
And you drove to the funeral home as if this was just another corpse.
Yeah. My emotions were high, but they handled the body just like would any other body.
They had all the tools in the world to assist them in this. You know, they had a body transport van, they had a funeral home, they had a cooler.
I made a cremation container and I put it into the cooler and pushed the stretcher up next to it and started to push Greg in. I went to Lowe's sometime during the day.
Did you realize there were security cameras there?
I did.
Tracking you buying the tarp, the cinder block, ratchet straps?
Yeah, you gotta remember, this is not something that I've ever been involved with. I had no plan.
Chris tells the jury that the following night he heads back here to a place he knows very well, the Myrtle Beach Funeral Home, to dispose of Greg Rice's body.
I waited till it was dark. I unfolded the tarp that I purchased. I put him in my Explorer. I started out toward the river. I went back to the middle of the bridge, popped the back gate of the Explorer. It took about 10 seconds, put him in the water.
Megan's lawyers try to discredit Chris Dontel as dishonest and an admitted liar.
You have lied to the police throughout this process.
Correct.
So what stopped you from going to one of your acquaintances and telling them what happened?
The fact that your client told me that if I did that, she would kill me, and I had watched her kill the father of her kids, so I believed her.
You were still having sex with Megan Jackson afterwards?
Correct, for a period, yes.
Okay.
You could have said what happened, and you didn't. That family suffered for more than 4 years.
She had threatened to kill me.
But after she was jailed, she couldn't kill you.
She kept getting out on bond. Felt like for the last 5 years that I've been looking in the barrel of Megan Jackson's gun.
He made this big cry, oh, I'm afraid of her.
Why did he continue to communicate with her? That's a bunch of baloney. That's crazy.
You know, there's the danger that the jury does not believe everything that Dontel says. So how can we show them that the investigation has corroborated everything he said? And that's where Lieutenant Wells came in.
My name is Benjamin Wells. I do digital forensics and digital extractions on mobile devices.
Erica learns in a really shocking way that her husband is having an affair through anonymous text messages.
Erica Dontel believed that these anonymous texts were coming from Greg Rice. Through the analysis of her cell phone, it was able to be proved that Megan Jackson was the actual one sending these to Erica Dontel.
They were created on her phone. They were all sent by her.
That was the aha moment, like, wow, she really is trying to, frame Greg, and this is it.
Why would she tell you that she's pregnant by your husband?
I think she thought, oh, I'll tell you this, you'll leave him, and then she'd have him. And then that didn't work because I stayed.
When it's the defense's turn, they call no witnesses. Instead, Megan's lawyers point the finger directly at Chris Dontel in closing arguments.
The only person that actually has a motive to get rid of Greg Rice is Chris Dontel. And can you trust him?
Two fates will be sealed.
As to the charge of murder, we the jury...
And a young woman confronts the demons
We will never be able to live a normal life.
of her past.
Is there anything you would want to tell your mother?
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back. I understand the jury's reached a verdict. Is that correct?
Every time a jury deliberates, you wonder how long it's going to take. But I don't think they deliberated that long on this case, truly.
As to the charge of murder, we the jury, by unanimous consent, find this defendant guilty.
And then you hear the word guilty. Relief?
Yeah, also a little bit of heartbreak. It is my mom.
The woman charged in the 2020 murder of 46-year-old Gregory Rice will now spend the rest of her life in prison.
And as for Megan's outstanding charges of child neglect, those charges were dismissed.
She's doing life in prison, so why put the children through that if we're not going to gain anything?
A month later, it's now Chris Dontel's turn to be sentenced.
How are you feeling?
Alright.
What do you think will happen?
Yeah, I just hope that he gets the time that he deserves. He hugged me as I cried and begged for my dad to come back. He told me it would be okay and that we would find my dad. He didn't tell me that we would find him dead.
His wife, hoping Chris will walk out free on time served.
Megan Jackson infiltrated all areas of our lives and became the literal antichrist to our family.
To simply keep saying I'm sorry just doesn't feel right. And I don't know that I can effectively articulate the depth of the combination of love, pain, regret, and compassion I feel for those kids and for everyone who loved Greg.
Christopher Dontel ended up being sentenced to 15 years for accessory after the fact and another 5 years for conspiracy, and for those to run consecutive.
Your reaction to what happened in court?
Obviously, I'm not happy about it. I was sentenced to the maximum.
If you could talk to Megan, what would you say to her?
I have nothing to say to her. There's a lot of victims in this case. Gregory Rice and his family, my family.
And you?
I believe so.
With that 20-year sentence, Chris's wife, Erica, needs to have a long-delayed conversation with her two young children.
They thought that he was away for work, and so I told them that he was in fact in jail. That's where he had been, and then just kind of explained the story the best I could.
I spoke with Megan on the phone, and she told me that she did not shoot Greg Rice, the father of her children. She denies those child abuse allegations, saying that she loves her children very much. And in a letter to 2020, Megan writes, Chris Dontel is a liar. What he said on the stand is a lie.
Is there anything you would want to tell your mother? Or ask your mom?
I just want her to tell me why she did what she did. And to tell her that I hate her, because...
That's a strong word, hate.
Yeah, I hate that woman. I hate her.
Greg and Megan's youngest children are now being raised by their older half-brother, Zach. Greg's son from a previous relationship, while Savannah lives on her own in Ohio. But recently, Savannah found herself back on the shores of Myrtle Beach, where she still has her fond memories of surfing with her dad and his best friend, Ryan.
This was a board that I had designed to surf with Greg, and I'd like to give it to Savannah so she can at least use it and enjoy it.
Your dad, what would you tell him?
That I love him and that I want him to know that, like, I'm okay. There was a point in time living in that house where I thought I was never gonna get out. No matter how hard and horrible your environment can be, you can always make it out, and you can turn your life around and be the person that you want to be.
I think he would be very proud of you.
Such a brave young woman. Savannah's brother has filed a civil wrongful death suit against those responsible for killing their father, Greg Rice.
Greg Rice's ex, Megan Jackson, is appealing her murder conviction. That's our program for tonight. Thanks for watching. I'm David Muir.
And I'm Deborah Roberts. From all of us here at 2020 and ABC News, good night.